Welcome to the No Limits Podcast, where limits do not exist, where you can create cash flow, equity, and real freedom with the power of real estate.
3, 4.
Now, we will begin.
Welcome to the dojo.
Getting the money. That's the topic of today's show. This is Todd Toback, and welcome to the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast. If this is your first time listening to the show, or if you have not been to our website, head on over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com and download the Wholesaling map. This is the massive action plan that will teach you to go from your first deal all the way up to starting to scale your business to 7 or 8 figures with a team to generate more money in your business and increase your free time. So make sure you head on over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com and download the Wholesaling map. So let's talk about getting the money for your deals. Now, if you've been listening to me for any length of time, you know that one of the niches I love in real estate and that I love for you is wholesaling, right? That is where we go out there and we market, right? We look for motivated sellers and people who have a problem that we can solve, and we lock that property up under contract. And with little to no risk, you can go ahead and sell that to a cash buyer and generate a 5-figure paycheck with very little risk. And so if you're brand new, this is a fantastic strategy, and I would recommend this as a great way to get started. But somewhere along the line, or even if this is your first deal, I'm going to recommend that you have money in your pocket to actually buy deals. Now, there are several reasons for this. Number one is that your confidence will go through the roof, meaning that if you know that you can close a property yourself without having to sell it to a cash buyer or to assign it or to rely on somebody else, man, you could negotiate hard and strong and communicate a certainty to a seller that you could close within 48 hours. And I can tell you that some of my best deals actually have come through that. So for example, a short time ago, we had a deal where the seller called us on a Friday and said, man, I want to close on Monday. I need my cash in my hand. The moving truck is in my driveway. My stuff is packed. I need my money right now. So let's get this done. And I did not have the time to wholesale that deal. I could have, I guess, right? But I would have just left so much money on the table for a buyer who was willing to take on that risk. And I said, nope, we're going to take this down. We're going to buy it. And this place virtually needed no work. It was in fantastic condition. And we bought it for $110,000 and we sold it 30 days after we bought it, pretty much with no work, for $220,000, around that. Long story short, that was a fantastic deal. And it was only because we locked up the deal on Friday and closed with cash on a Monday, right? I could tell you about another property that I bought where it was a multi-unit property and it was kind of an obscure location. And I knew that it was a fantastic deal. And for some reason it wasn't moving. I went and I took that deal on and I've kept it. And it's been a cash cow year after year after year after year for me. And I'm so glad I kept it. And there are just dozens and dozens and dozens of other deals that I would tell you to do that with. Sometimes a deal is so great that you don't want to hassle sending it out to your cash buyers or sticking it on the MLS, right? You don't want to take any chances. Just take it down. And so, look, if this is your first deal, I want you to say, hey, you know what? I want this to be for me. I don't need this, but I want this in my toolbox. Or if you've been wholesaling every single deal and you're saying, hey, you know what? It's time I do this, right? Listen up, because we're going to go get that money today. I'm going to show you how to have virtually an unlimited amount of capital at your disposal on command. So I'm going to share several techniques here. All right. You could use all of these. You could use some of these, but you always want to be building your capital sources. You're going to do more deals and you're going to do better deals. And so for me, I've moved from single families, which I still do, right, to multifamilies, which I still do, to mobile home parks, which is my favorite asset class in the world. And I've used private capital for all of these types of deals, right? I've wholesaled a bunch, but I've also used private capital. So I'm going to give you 10 different ways to get all the money that you need. Again, 10, you can use some of these or all of these. And I can tell you that getting the money is probably the easiest part of this business. I happen to love it because you get to win with friends. Very, very, very important. All right, number one for getting the money is finding a joint venture partner. So right now, as we're listening to this, you have friends, you have family, you have associates, you have mentors and coaches, you have people in your life who have hundreds, if not millions of thousands of dollars sitting in the bank earning less than 1% interest, more like 0.005 last time I checked it. And their money is being eroded by inflation, and they are desperate to put their money to work and be involved with a cool, exciting, sexy real estate deal that someone like you is going to put in their lap. You know, I had one friend one time who wanted to get into flipping houses. And he's like, Todd, you know, I want to get into flipping houses, but I just don't have the money. And I said, well, why don't you just ask some friends and family for the money? And he's like, you know, I don't want to put him over a barrel, you know, and just ask him for a favor like that. And I'm like, what are you thinking? I'm like, you're helping them, right? They have money sitting right now, and you are going to put money in their pocket, right? And I was so excited and passionate about that. And he just could not get over this, right? He was thinking that they were helping him out. And because of that, right, he couldn't help himself out, and he couldn't help out his friends and family. And he is still in the same spot financially that he was last time he spoke to me about this. And the most important thing for you to realize is that you are helping capital partners. They need your help. They need you just as much as you need them, and probably more than you need them, because capital out there is just so plentiful right now. Money needs a home. Let me tell you about my first deal. My first deal was in Carpinteria, California. It was a little 3-bedroom, 2-bath condo that was by the beach, and I didn't have a cash buyer's list, and it was in pretty good condition. I knew it was going to sell to a retail buyer. And even if I was going to wholesale it, it wasn't going to be that amazing of a deal. Well, I knew that if I bought it and sold it, actually took it down, I could sell it to a retail buyer and make about $80,000 at the time. And so I called my dad for money. He said no. Called my sister for money. She said no. And I called some friends. They said no. And then my brother-in-law, who had some money sitting in a retirement account, said, yes, I will fund that deal. This would be great. I would love to be partners with you. Let's do the deal. Long story short, we got the deal done in a flash. I made $40K. He made $40K. By the way, the splits, okay, are totally negotiable, right? When you're first starting out, you know, you may have to give up a bigger split. When you are continuing to grow and you develop a reputation, or if you're just a better negotiator, right, you can negotiate an 80-20 split, or maybe a small interest rate like 3-4%, and maybe a 90-10 split. But whatever it is, again, that is negotiable. You don't have to give away half your deal. That was a big, big learning lesson for me, right? You don't have to give up 50-50. You are bringing a lot of value, okay? Now, by the way, if you would like to joint venture with me, right, and you wholesale single-family houses, or you buy single-family houses in Southern California or South Florida, I would love to be your joint venture partner. So you can email me at support@nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com. Now, if you are finding mobile home parks, I buy those nationwide. So again, if you find mobile home parks nationwide, 25 spaces or greater, I would love to talk to you about joint venturing on those or buying them from you. And you could also send an email to the same place, support@nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com. Look, you just found a joint venture partner listening to this podcast. They are everywhere. So let's talk number 2, your own retirement account. So right now you may have an old 401k or an IRA that you've rolled over from another job, and it's just sitting there kind of doing, you know, nothing. And so you can actually roll that over to what is known as a self-directed IRA, meaning that you get to direct those funds into real estate instead of the traditional stocks and bonds and mutual funds, right? So you get to control this. And so you can roll that over, and there are several companies who can do that. Look for self-directed IRAs, and you can now use your funds for real estate investing inside your retirement account. Now, just a word of warning, there are some strict rules regarding this. If you ask, 10 people about a self-directed IRA, 9 people will not know. I mean, even CPA. So don't be surprised if you don't get an answer right away. But that 1 out of 10 will know. It's very, very, very common among savvy real estate investors. And you can use those funds. Just be aware that you can't commingle funds and that you can't use your personal funds in combination with your IRA funds, and that if you make profit inside your retirement account, that profit needs to stay there until you actually withdraw your retirement at approximately 59 and a half, right? That's today's rules. Now, there might be some small modifications there depending on the retirement vehicle, but talk to your CPA and accountant about any of that or any of the rules. Again, that's not my expertise, but you can do that. Now, number 3, which I like even better, is you want to teach unsophisticated investors how to use their retirement accounts. So obviously you may have your own retirement account, but what's beautiful here is that just like I told you to roll that over, right now there's someone who is, 50, 55 and has got maybe $1.5 million sitting in his retirement account doing nothing. And so I would teach them how to roll that over into a self-directed IRA. And now they can give you all the money that you ever need for your deal, right? Agree to pay them, 10, 12, 15% interest on a short-term deal on 90 days. That's pretty much nothing, right? And go out there and start churning and burning deals, right? Just make sure that they have access to that money quickly. I'll give you a little nuance here though, and make sure that they get a checkbook IRA, meaning that they don't have to call their custodian to get the money, that they have check writing privileges on that IRA, right? Do homework on that. And there are tons of resources out there. Most of the custodians will teach you how to do that. Again, teach them how to get a checkbook IRA so that you can get quick access to those funds. And I could tell you that that is probably the most plentiful and the cheapest money that you will find. That money is just sitting there ready to be used. So you know what? Let's help our friends, let's help sellers, and let's make some money together. All right. Number 4, let's talk about credit card cash advances, right? Many of you may have some credit cards that you have for your business or your personal. And so I would start to take a look at the special offers they have. Many credit cards offer 0% interest, and they charge a couple of points on the money when you use it. And so that's basically 2 or 3% on the money. I've got several credit cards that have $75,000 advances. My recommendation to you is for you to call all your credit card companies today, right? That's right, today, and increase your limits to as high as you can get them, right? If it's 10,000, ask for 15. If it's 15, ask for 20, and do this gradually, but get the biggest one and then do this across all your credit card accounts. And before you know it, you'll have, maybe $500,000 in credit that you can get on credit card accounts. Remember, if you're using the money short term, the interest is inconsequential, and I have seen 0% interest, 2% interest, 3% interest on these promotional rates. So use those to your advantages. Number 5, there are signature loans at your bank. So I would build relationships, especially with your smaller banks and credit unions. You could walk in the bank and get a loan at just 8% interest with your signature, right? $25,000, $50,000, $75,000. Now, if you're in Southern California, you probably can't buy a house for that, but it's a part of a house, right? So just get that money at your disposal, or if you have 5 or 6 sources, you can combine those and get a house. Now, if your credit is all jacked up, right? I tell you what, in 24 months, you can have this pretty much fixed. So start paying your bills on time and start working on your credit, and then you can use that strategy. By the way, for joint venture partners, no one's going to check your credit, right? So just make sure that you do what you say you're going to do, and you'll have all the money that you're ever going to need. By the way, I'm going to assume that you're going to take care of business here, right? I'm going to assume that you are going to look out for your investors and that you are going to treat their money even more cautiously than your own, right? And that you're going to this making sure that they're going to win. So that is the assumption. Let's talk about hard money for a second. So there are companies out there who specialize in these types of transaction. There are literally hundreds of companies who specialize in this. You're going to pay a little bit more for this money, right? These people are usually more sophisticated. So you want to check out lendinghome.com. They are one of the cheapest hard money companies out there, and they'll probably do this for a couple of points, maybe 9, 10% interest, depending on the environment. And that's what it's at right now. You can also call your local title company, your escrow company, or your real estate clubs and ask for referrals. They are all over the place, so just ask. Number 7, there's a great company called Fund and Grow, right? Fund and Grow actually helps you get 250 grand, up to 250 grand of unsecured funding for your business. If you go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/fund, okay? nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/fund, they've got a special offer for all of our podcast listeners on basically a lightning fast way to get up to 250 grand in unsecured funding. This company has rave reviews. They do a bang up job. And if you're looking to get money as fast as possible, call Fund and Grow. All right. Number 8 is your own savings account. So if you are doing deals and you have money in your savings account, then go ahead and do that. And if you are broke, okay, do some deals with some joint venture partners, wholesale, and start saving some money. Please, okay? Let's do it. You should have at least 100K in the bank if you are listening to this show. And if not, listen to more episodes and make that happen. Number 9 is a home equity line of credit. So if you own your own home, go to a bank and get a home equity line of credit on your house. You don't have to use it, but it's great to have it if you need it. The interest rates are just so ridiculously low right now. I mean, if you used $200,000 for 3 months, a 5% interest rate, let me do the math in my head. That would be 10,000 for a year. That's basically around 800 a month, right? So it'll cost you $2,400 to use a couple of hundred grand for 3 months, right? So go out there and get a home equity line of credit. Number 10 is local banks, and local banks and credit unions are just a phenomenal resource. Go in there and talk to the commercial banking manager. Again, go to commercial banking. Don't go up to the teller, and get a line of credit for your business. Again, a lot of these companies will give you 100,000, 250,000 unsecured line of credit. So if you go in there and you get rejected for any reason, just find out, okay, listen, how can we start a relationship? Maybe we could start at $10,000 or $20,000, or maybe you got to improve some things on your credit, but get the ball rolling. And as you can see, by themselves, any one of these could get you your next deal, or in combination, you could virtually build an unlimited source of capital. If you don't want to take any risk, those JV partners are out there. My point being is the money is out there. Go get it. Make it happen. There are some deals that are just so good that you've got to take them down. I recommend that to you. There are some deals that there is a disproportionate amount of risk that you need to take in a good way of buying it, cleaning it out, and putting it back on the market. And also the confidence of being able to take down the deal if you have to. Is this going to help you get more deals in the pipeline and do better deals? So go out there and get that money. And if you have not been to our website, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com, head on over there, download the map. Please share the show, review the show. I see them. I really, really appreciate that. And I will talk to you on the next episode of the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast.